63, 64, 65 degrees in North Carolina. Pretty beautiful day. I'm sure they'll be spraying the clouds soon enough because every beautiful day they spray the clouds. They chemtrail us every beautiful day. Thanks for everybody responding last night for a live stream. By the time I got settled in, it was a couple hours later. And by the time I made the decision to do it, it was probably too late to have a live stream. So I'm sorry to let you guys down. It's real stressful. I'm in a very ill mood today. Started my day off watching cops violate the rights of 2 black Americans. So I called a museum director in Indiana and let him have it for being ignorant of the law. Can you believe somebody, not a museum, a library director? You know that a library director who has bachelor's degrees and master's degree, he said he had a master's in photography, and he thinks these are 3 magical words to people that know nothing about public and private property. The magic words are limited public forum. For some reason, when somebody says limited public forum, that makes them think this is private property because it's limited public forum. No, that's not what limited public forum means at all. Limited public forum means you are still allowed to exercise your rights. You just cannot create a disturbance like yelling and screaming and protesting. Limited public forum doesn't mean you lose your rights. And this idiot, forgive me, Lord, that's a sin. Calling people idiots is a sin. Saying it's a limited public forum does not mean you don't have the rights any longer. So I'm talking to this guy with a master's in supposedly photography. I didn't know you can get a master's degree for photography. I guess you can. And he's like, it's a limited public forum. You can't come in here and film without permission. I said, sir, he said, you can't film people's computer and you can't film what they're reading. You can't film them without their permission. I was like, dude, there's no such thing as permission to take pictures on public property. And then he says, it's a limited public forum, again for the 4th time. I said, dude, there's no such thing as no pictures in a limited public forum. It doesn't exist. So then I was like, he's like, well, you can't do it in a library. It's against our policy. I said, dude, you can have a policy saying that your employees aren't allowed to say ass, like your employee said repeatedly to the 2 gentlemen, saying them to get their asses out of there. I said, but it's not a law. Nobody has to abide by that policy. And if a policy violates the First Amendment, it's an unlawful policy, especially in a public building. I just hate being more intelligent than everyone else around me. I gotta make a purchase real quick. I'll be right back. Hold on with me. I'll be right back with you. So hold tight. I'll be right back. Thank you guys for hanging around. Everybody, I'm doing, huh? If you guys knew what I was doing, you guys would flip out if you knew what I was actually doing. Some of you wouldn't. Some of you would. But unfortunately, in this internet world of evil people and law enforcement, I can't tell my business. That's the worst part. I can't tell my business. Because if I tell my business, then, I mean, the feds know what I do. You can't hide from the feds. Even this morning, the best part of my day so far is my daughter brought the grand and youngin over. My grand and youngin today was his last. I said, there's no point bringing that baby back to the heart doctor because he has a clean bill of health for his heart. He's been off the oxygen for a while. So everybody give God glory for healing my grandson. And it's all in God. God is to blame for all the goodness, because a child born at 22 weeks, and they really think he was born at 21 weeks. 21 weeks old, smaller than the inside of my hand is how young my grandson was when they delivered him. And that is the most terrifying time that you could ever go through, is knowing if anything happens to that little baby boy, that it would cause a detrimental effect on my daughter's life, because my daughter, I doubt that she would have kept herself from harm if my grandson would have passed. That baby has brought life into my daughter. She, as I told you guys before, she had to live with me and her mother growing up. And her mother was so god-awful toxic. Anytime she wanted to fight, she'd grab my daughter, stick her on her hip, and chase me around town. I'm out pricing jobs, she'd show up with the baby. I'm out in appointments, she'd show up with the baby. I'm out trying to have a drink with clients, she'd show up with the baby. I mean, just always putting the child in a bad position, always wanting to start a fight, a physical fight with me with a baby on her hip. So my daughter saw the just unmitigated hate that two people engage in. When you get good at hurting each other instead of loving each other, you need to leave. And foolish as I was trying to stick it out for the kids. And you can't. God says not to get divorced, but he gives you an excuse when he gives you reasons why you can divorce. And if your female spouse is cheating on you, God says you have the right to divorce her. Just write her a letter of divorce and walk away. Hey man, it's been a while. What's up, Jake? Thanks for being here. So my daughter really was triggered with really bad anxiety, and when social services stole my children away from me, both my daughters were put in a home where they were screamed at constantly. They were mentally and emotionally abused by the foster parents. And I told you guys that the foster parent is in jail right now for sexually abusing the foster daughter before my kid. And my daughters have never told me that he touched them. And I pray that it did not happen, because my daughters are smart enough to know that if a man would have laid a hand on them in that situation, that courts would not have been involved. So I pray that my daughters have never been touched. They don't show any sign. I didn't mean to come in chipper on. So it's not a heavy conversation. It's okay, Jake. I appreciate you being here. But my daughter grew so much during these NICU days. I'm telling you, the people at the NICU, these women have the biggest hearts that you can imagine. They are gifted by God, because when they're in there doing their things, they're throwing the baby sideways and jerking them around, and I'm like, oh my God, be gentle. And they're like, nope, this is what we got to do. And I mean, they are so attentive, and we are so blessed to live in America, because in any other country, they'd have jerked that baby out of the womb and thrown it in the trash can. And the shocking part about it is, in a lot of these states, and this is a shocking thing that I learned last week from the dreaded Rebel Rouser, the dreaded Rebel Rouser on YouTube. Check his channel out. Dr. Justin Spies, S-P-I-E-S-E-S, I think. Spies, Dr. Justin Spies. He is a military veteran. He spent his time on a submarine. Lawrenceville, Kansas. He said the other day at a city hall meeting that Kansas, now you would think that Kansas would be a pretty conservative state. Last year in the state of Kansas, over 20,000 children murdered in the womb. Kansas. This is after Roe versus Wade. So all them people saying, oh, the Republicans took away my right to murder my baby. It's a lie. Nobody took away their rights to murder babies. They still have that right. And more babies are being killed now than even then. Trying to move this phone so it didn't get a glare. So my daughter really grew up a lot because she's at that hospital every day, every night. She never left that baby's side except maybe an hour at a time. That was her dedication as a mother, and I'm so proud of her for that. So, as I said, thank God that boy is perfectly normal, and that's all I kept saying. I confessed over him. This baby is perfectly normal. Just had a girlfriend abort a baby behind my back on the 4th, absolutely destroyed me. Just pray, man. Just pray about that. I took part in an abortion myself, and it has broken my heart ever since. The girl Heather that the feds killed, that suicided herself because of the feds, we lost a baby together too. So it is an evil world. And I'll tell you this, a lot of these doctors who are satanic, listen, the Hippocratic Oath is will do no harm. Doctors now do not take that oath seriously, just like law enforcement. They do not care about that oath. It's just words to get a job. So there's a lot of doctors now who will intentionally proclaim that child in the womb is diseased, has Down syndrome, or has some kind of terminal illness just so they can get the body. Because whether you know it or not, they sell the body parts of fetuses. They sell baby body parts. That is illegal, and they still do it. We know this thanks to James O'Keefe's former Project Veritas. Thank you, Zola, for being here. God bless you. They are selling body parts off of fetal tissue. This is where stem cells come in. Stem cells are such a wonderful thing. Well, why are we murdering babies to get stem cells? That's where they get it from. And a lot of you women out there, if you don't know it, there are fetal parts in your makeup, in your shampoo. They have dead baby parts in the chemicals you put on your body. It is straight evil, the world that we live in. Evil. So, thank God that my daughter grew up, matured, learned what real anxiety is. Learning, hey, whatever happens today is not near as bad as me thinking my child is going to be taken from me and murdered. Or thinking my child's going to die in the womb, or thinking my child's going to die in the NICU. Nothing compares to that, and that's where everyone, especially targeted individuals who have anxiety, because I have really bad anxiety too. My PTSD, and I shouldn't say that because I'm trying to speak positively over myself, but I have the same issues too. And like I said, this whole police crap has got me triggered. You guys don't understand. I can't even start to think about my court case without having a panic attack. That's just how bad it is. I can't even, just the thought of it. If I like, even this morning I tried to watch a court program where there's a tyrannical judge on there just throwing days in prison to a guy. And just watching that judge, just that situation right there, put me into a panic. So that's why I stay in a controlled environment at all times. I don't go out around people. I don't go out in public. I stay to myself. I don't get in the crowds. I ain't going to the mall. I don't do Walmart. I know. Even family events, I only go to spend time with my children, but I don't care about nobody else there. I don't want to be around anybody else there. I'm just there for my children. That's why this is so criminal, what's happened to me being in court. I'm not speeding. I'm not breaking the laws. I'm not doing anything that you would consider wrong. If I'm not stealing from you and I'm not hurting you and I'm not endangering anyone, then I shouldn't be going to court. I shouldn't be arrested if I'm not hurting someone or stealing something or damaging property. This is where we're screwed up in our society. That's what I was speaking on earlier, this judge. People don't understand the courtroom. If you've never been in the injustice system, you will never understand how corrupt it is. The number one problem when it comes to the judicial system is there are over 44,000 laws on the books that regulate us. But we don't have, 24 amendments that protect us? We got 24 that protect us, and the state's got over 44,000 to protect them from us. So the problem becomes that judges are supposed to be non-biased, representing no one. But in America, judges represent the state, the DA represents the state, and it's us representing ourselves. And the worst part is court-appointed attorneys represent the state too. So we're at a disadvantage as soon as we walk in. So it is an actual injustice system. Just like when cops call us the subject. The subject. Well, I'm only a subject if there's a king and queen. Guess what? That's your answer. We are subjects and there is a king and a queen. So we're in danger in America. Because criminals don't follow laws. Criminals don't care about the law. And crime, base level crime, has really dropped through the floor. But they still got to generate that revenue, so they still got to harass the citizens. God, this is irritating. I'm trying to take a photograph. So it's hard times, man. But now I'm watching judges, and they're representing the state, but they're not being a non-biased party. The judge is supposed to be non-biased. Now, I've seen some judges, like the one down in Texas, the bald-headed one down in Texas, wears glasses. He's pretty fair. I've seen him throw out cases because cops didn't have proper calls. But majority of judges don't care. It's a dog and pony show. The lawyers hang out with the DAs, and they all go to lunch. They all go to lunch and out to eat with the judge. So they don't care. They don't take time to fight your case. They don't take time to get in there and figure out what's going on. It's a barter between people, but it's not a barter between the law and what's right. So thanks for being here, Eric. I appreciate it. Just really, as I said before, guys, it's a lot of stress. I'm trying to get the body camera footage. It's at the lawyers, but the lawyers never hit the office. The lawyers are never there. I've called almost, I think, 10 or 11 times. I've got it recorded that I've called 10 or 11 times and tried to set up an appointment 6 or 7 times and still have yet to sit down and talk to my attorney. And I'm already past my first continuance. Think about that. Haven't even sat down with my attorney and we've already went past the first court date. How are you supposed to have confidence in the system when your attorney won't even meet with you? So if I have to go in there, and I talked to the clerk of court this morning, she said, well, you'll have to ask the judge next court date to reappoint you, but the judge doesn't have to give you another attorney. And I said, I have a right to counsel. If they granted me counsel, then they need to supply me with counsel. And I looked at the reviews for the attorney they gave me, and her reviews suck. And every review from 10 years ago to now is the same exact complaints I got, that the secretary is nice, polite, and accommodating, but the lawyer doesn't do her job, doesn't show up, is mean and hateful, and doesn't want to work. So the reviews are dead on the point. So next time I go to court, I'm gonna make a copy of the reviews, and I'm gonna tell the judge, these are my exact same experience. And if I have to take the case on myself, then I will. The only bad part about that is I'm not sure on what I'm getting ready to say. I think that I can still appeal this decision, but a lot of courts in district court, you can't appeal a district court sentence, which is crazy. Like I said, the state has too much power. Judges have too much power. You know that our justice system's corrupt when you can't take a video recorder in there and record it yourself. If everything's on the up and up, why can't we record it ourselves? Now people will say, well, there's private information. There ain't no private information in a courtroom. There's not. They're not in there screaming social security numbers. It ain't happening. So for all those that think that's what's going on, it's not. But I've been in the court system since I was 16 years old. And I've been out of it for the last 12 to 15 years. Because I don't break the law. I ain't out at night, I ain't out late, I ain't out at bars, I ain't messing with morons. The last moron I came in contact with is that one so-called targeted individual who was strung out that I tried to get sober, that came to my house causing me all kinds of problems. I just don't deal with it. I don't deal with drama. I ain't gonna deal with drama. Here comes cops, blue lights blaring. Good timing. As soon as I get down the road, here they are. Let's see how this works out. See if they're coming to get me. They're coming, blue lights blazing. See if I can get over here. See if I'm getting pulled over or they going by. That's crazy going that freaking fast. This is a problem. Guys, we need to start petitions in every state and have high-speed chases outlawed. One of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to law enforcement, we need to outlaw high-speed chases because more innocent people are harmed and endangered when cops are involved in high-speed chases. And 99% of the time, if it's a stolen car or anything like that, they destroy the freaking cars by chasing them and giving them pit maneuvers. Pit maneuvers need to be outlawed. I mean, where do we get to in this society? And as I said yesterday, you know, around the world, cops in America are known as the most violent in the world. We're talking third world nations, Africa, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan. We have the most dangerous and violent cops in America than any country in the world. Does that surprise you? It should surprise you that our cops are that violent. On average, 1,500 people a year are murdered by law enforcement. But somehow, I think the number's like 85% justified killings. That number don't work. That number don't work. And here's another pet peeve. You got that whole Batman belt on. You got tasers and batons and pepper spray, bulletproof jackets. You got all this gear on. Like you're Batman. Look at all this. All this for a car wreck. They were speeding up the road for a bumper crash. 2 cops speeding up the road for a bumper crash. Really? They endangered all those people back there, and there were already 3 cops on scene, but they had to fly in at 90 miles an hour. See what I mean? It's stupidity. Where was I at? I can't remember where I was. Somebody remind me where I was. Totally lost my thought. Anybody gonna help me? What I was talking about? I need your help. I can't think. High-speed chases. I know I was there. Pit maneuvers. That's outrageous. Cars being destroyed. People being murdered. And what world is? I mean, just like that cop in Arkansas, the state trooper the other year. A woman was pregnant going down the highway with her hazards on. Cop pull up beside her. She honks and waves at him, and she slows down to 45 miles an hour, but is still going, not risking anybody's life, doing the speed limit now. And he pit maneuvers her. She's 8.5 months pregnant, and he pits her, flips her on her roof. That's attempted murder if I do it. And he gets out and wants to mouth off to her. And guess what? They let him retire with all his benefits. I'll go back to this morning as I was talking to the library director, judges being overpowered. Well, there's that, yeah. I was watching a judge show before I left the house, sitting there tripping on it. This man, Zoloft, I'm not going to talk about Trump with you because I think that you are so uninformed when it comes to Trump. You absolutely believe what the media says. It's just like Tim Pool went over this garbage went over it last week with this little freaking left-wing wacko. He said Trump's gonna take down the Constitution. He said he's gonna take down the Constitution. He did not say that. He said that if we're gonna allow the Democrats to steal an election, they're gonna break all the laws. Then we might as well just throw the Constitution away. That's what he was saying. He didn't say, when I take office, I'm going to eliminate the Constitution and be a terrorist. If you guys listen to me and listen to the way I talk like Trump does in a lot of ways. I talk in nevers and evers. I talk in always, and I exaggerate my speech. You saw Trump rule for 4 years. Who did Trump put in prison unlawfully? Tell me what Trump did that was against the Constitution. Name one thing. I'll wait. All right, audience. Was houses cheaper under Trump? Yes or no? Was gas cheaper under Trump? Yes or no? Did the stock market have 24 record highs under Trump? Yes or no? Under Trump, the highest black home ownership. Under Trump, the highest Asian home ownership. Under Trump, the highest Latino home ownership. Under Trump, the actual lowest black unemployment. Under Trump, the actual lowest Latino unemployment. Under Trump, the actual lowest Asian unemployment. And the lowest female unemployment under Trump. Trump also extended the funding for black colleges to 10 years. You see, under every other administration under our presidency, the black colleges had to come back every single year and beg for money. They came to Trump one time and they said, well, here you go. Will that do? And they said, well, we'll have to come back next year. He said, what do you mean? Well, we have to come back every year and ask for it. Trump gave them funding for 10 full years for black colleges. Also under Trump, Trump had the First Step Act. If you're convicted of a drug felony and put in prison with an ultra long sentence under Donald Trump, he set you free out of prison. There were I think it was either 18 or 80,000 people who were in prison for a first-time drug offense for policies that Joe Biden put in place. You remember when Joe Biden says, if you have crack, you ought to go to jail for the rest of your life, while his son was smoking crack? It is outrageous who somebody says Donald Trump's going to be a tyrant. He did nothing tyrannical. Donald Trump did not mandate for you to get a shot. He did not mandate that you can't go to work. He did not take away your right to worship your God. He didn't take away your right to be in the military without a jab. Donald Trump did none of that. But everybody listened to the news who said, Donald Trump, orange man bad, orange man bad. It's so tired. 4 years under Donald Trump. Donald Trump's worst day in office is better than any day in office under Joe Biden. Under any day. And before Trump left office, we had the lowest illegal immigration in American history since they started recording. The lowest. Right now, Joe Biden is selling pennies on the $100 our wall that we've already paid for. Joe Biden's selling it right now. It is so tiresome dealing with people with Trump derangement syndrome. They will not hear anything. And when you show them some statistic, guess what they'll say? No, it ain't happening. It ain't real because C-SPAN said so. And those people that rely on PBS, Public Broadcasting System. Oh, well, they're neutral. No, they're not. They're controlled by the Democrat Party. 99% of media in America is controlled by the left. Everywhere you go is negative on the right. Everywhere. Even Fox News is now a center-left wing publication. Fox News is now center-left. Because Murdoch's sons took over the business now. Murdoch's no longer running. I think Murdoch's dead, ain't he? It's so it's just tiresome. Russia did not invade Ukraine under Donald Trump. Didn't happen. Hamas did not invade Israel under Trump. It didn't happen. In North Korea, Kim Jong-un was not firing rockets when Donald Trump was president. It didn't happen. There was a record amount of peace in the world under Donald Trump. The Abraham Accords, signed on by 5 Middle Eastern countries, and Iran was getting ready to sign on to it because they were dead broke for sanctions. But as soon as Joe Biden came into office, he removed the sanctions and gave Iran $400 billion. It's outrageous. Tell me what he did wrong, Zola. We're going to have this discussion. Either you're going to be here and just stop, or you're just not going to be here. I don't care. I'm not going to block it. Tell me what Trump did to you. Tell me what Trump did to negatively impact your life. Tell me right now. Because I call balls and strikes when it comes to Trump. I'm very critical on Trump. I think Trump is screwing up right now for having Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. I think Trump is screwing up. But you just don't like the man. You don't like his words. You don't like his wife. You don't like his ex-wife. You don't like that he's a multi-billionaire. You just don't like Donald Trump. But you name the policy you don't like, and let's see how that goes. Name the policy that hurt your feelings. He did not militarize the police. They were already militarized. They were already militarized. Cops have been buying military gear for the past 30 years. He did not militarize the police. I'm more anti-cop than anybody. He did not militarize the police. They've already been buying the military gear. Trump said if they're going to buy it, at least they should get a discount for the states. So in other words, Donald Trump was trying to save taxpayer money. But it wasn't him making them militarized. They already had the gear. It didn't. They've been running SWAT teams and tanks into houses since 1981 was the first SWAT raid in America. That's the first SWAT raid. And it's gotten increasingly worse ever since. But Trump did not militarize the cops any more than they already had been. And that's another thing with Trump. Everybody takes his rhetoric as, that's what he means. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Nobody knows what my hyperbole is. Nobody knows what sarcasm is. You see words written down. Oh, God, he's going to do it. And every anchor out there, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News, oh, my God, Donald Trump's going to shoot bombs off and kill us all. It is so frustrating. Talk to somebody with a disease. It is an absolute disease that you have. See, I'm down the road. I'm even. I call it exactly the way I see it. But I study a lot more than anybody else does. I read this stuff 24 hours a day. I'm studying. And I don't go to one news source. He defends them more than most. The police can't do anything wrong. I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that. What did that do to your life? I hate cops. I hate everything about them. But what did that do to your life? when Donald Trump says, I'm going to give them qualified immunity, you know what that is? That's him playing to the base to get the police unions to vote. That's what a businessman does. They already have qualified immunity. He can't change what it already is. That's is we have to defund them the right way. I've been beat up by cops too. Donald Trump did not beat you up, and he did not beat me up. But what you don't understand, why it was a blessing from God that they stole 2020 and not 2024, is because now Donald Trump has seen how corrupt the system is. He sees how corrupt the FBI is now. He sees how corrupt the DOJ is. He persecuted us, persecuted him. So now with Kash Patel, who's calling out the corrupt cops, all of them, Kash Patel's calling them all out. That's what you don't see. Donald Trump sees it now and is taking action by who he's appointing to his cabinet. Just like appointing Tulsi Gabbard. She's going to pull back the power of the DOD. I just don't understand. Tell me, please. And I know you know how passionate I am, and I'm not being mean, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I love you, and I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate you being here. I truly do, and I hope that you believe me. Tell me, what did Donald Trump do in his first term that negatively impacted your personal life? Were you better off in 2020, even with COVID, than you are now? Because the economy is not good in America. Not at all. The numbers come out yesterday for homelessness. Homelessness in America has went up 33%. 33%. We have more billionaires in government than ever before. They can't truly understand the majority of. Did you know that Kamala Harris had over 30 billionaires backing her? This is the difference between the billionaires that Trump has and the billionaires that the left has. The billionaires use their power against the left to get more rules for them. I can tell you, why would Donald Trump appoint Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to Doge? Do you know what Doge is? Government accountability for their spending. Exactly, but Donald Trump's not on a side. Just like this comment, gas, milk, gold pricing, everything is better under Trump. Everything Trump is doing is literally to help the people. For every one regulation, he had a rule. For every one regulation, he removed 4. When they counted it all up, and this is factual, you can go and look at it through the federal websites. Donald Trump removed 10 regulations per every one regulation added. Regulation is the weight on the people's back. That's what people don't understand. These regulations hurt us and generate revenue for the public. You go live in California and see what it takes. They had a bid to build a public restroom in California. One toilet public restroom in California. Before the job was even started, it cost $1.5 million just for the surveys, the permits, and all the permissions. Over $1.5 million to build a one toilet bathroom in California. $1.5 million. And then they had to charge $1,750,000 to build that same bathroom because they had to make money because they spent all their money on all the regulations. I just pray that you won't believe what I say, but you'll research it. And you can't go to Google. Google is completely owned by the left. Google is owned. And DuckDuckGo used to be one to go to. DuckDuckGo's corrupt. If you go to Google and DuckDuckGo, it's almost the same exact thing. I went to a new one called Brave. You can ask Google one thing and ask Brave one thing, and it's 2 totally different pages that pop up. Everything I tell you is factual. I've seen the documents. Donald Trump is not going to have the cops breaking your house. And when he said we need to use the military to go after the criminals, there are a lot of criminals in our country that we need to have the military to go after. That's the problem. Everybody takes his words as, oh my God, he's going to be Hitler. I just can't believe that intelligent people will believe it. Intelligent people fall for this garbage. And it's so alarming to me, because I know people out there are smart. I just cannot believe how brainwashed you actually can be. You've already been through 4 years. What is the worst thing, please? What is the worst thing that happened to you between 2016 and 2020? What is the worst thing that Donald Trump did that specifically altered your life? What is the worst thing? And I'm with you on the COVID shot, but I firmly believe Donald Trump and he admitted it. He said, I was stupid when I went to the White House. He said, I thought when I went there, people would have my back, that they wanted the best for America, but they didn't. They did everything in the world to keep Washington, and keep him from moving forward. Everything he tried to do, he had 10 lawyers fighting him. Everything. He had to literally have had a team of lawyers to fight every single state in the union to get the least little thing done. Enabling of the corruption of corporation high income bracket tax breaks. Zoloft, who creates jobs? And if you say he gave the billionaires tax breaks, you realize that under Trump, the middle class got the highest tax breaks in over 45 years. The middle class got. You don't know that? You cannot tax. Here's the problem. Big business, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Meta, all these big companies don't pay a dime in taxes. They don't pay a dime. That's a problem. But it's the ones that make $400,000 to $1 million a year who have the most jobs, who provide the most jobs. And under Democrats' plans, the taxes are going to go to 60% Under Trump, he's dropping that tax bracket down even lower than what it was to promote growth, because those are the ones creating the jobs. This is what people don't understand. They say, oh, these CEOs, they take all the money. Well, yeah, they do. But if you tax them more, the CEOs are still going to get paid, but they're just not going to create any more jobs. They're not going to pay any more money to the people that are there. And so people just, I just don't understand how smart people don't understand business. Even me with my small business making $250,000 a year. I mean, that's a small business of 9 employees. But the taxes were so high. The gas was so high. Listen, when we're energy independent, that's low money for fuel. Fuel is our biggest expense. You have to admit. If you don't, then you're intellectually dishonest. Raises aren't keeping up. Did you know that we had a cost of living increase under Trump the last 40 years? He's the only one that raised wages. That happened under Trump. But all that declined when Joe Biden injected $17 trillion more into the money system. You can't inject money into society and expect wages to go up. It's like the Democrats. We're going to get $25,000 for you to buy a new house. It don't work that way. That means houses are going to be $25,000 higher because that money's worth $25,000 less. Please, anybody, 14 people in here. I need to go to work, but please, 14 people in here. How many's lives were better under Trump than it was under Biden? How many's lives, put a yes if better and no if worse under Donald Trump? Yes if better, no if worse. Yes if better, no if worse. I'll wait. I'll take a walk so I don't have to wait as long. I mean, I know the truth. I know it because I used to fill up my truck with $20. Trump was pre-pandemic, so it's hard to compare. You know what? Our economy was even better post-pandemic than it is now. And if you're intellectually honest, Trump handled the pandemic. Did you know that the number of people that died was a whole lot more under Biden than under Trump? Of course, yes, you would make it into my circle if you think otherwise. There you go. But life was better even with COVID. Trump handled COVID even better. What was he supposed to do? And listen, guess what they're talking about on the news right now when Trump's getting ready to take office? The bird flu. The bird flu. They're getting ready to sink. And if you don't think that that was a biological weapon to take down his administration, because guess what? He would have won I know there's not a doubt in my mind that Donald Trump, he won in 2020. Not a doubt in my mind. I've seen the statistics. I saw exactly what happened. I watched it. I used to have TDS until I researched. I love him now. God bless you, Jackie, for being open-minded. God bless you for being... Listen, I understand people. A lot of people hate me when they hear me. A lot of people. And some of you may have hated me when you first heard me. I understand. I come off as brash. I come off as obnoxious. I come off sometimes like a know-it-all. I get it. But I'm sincere. And I want the best for everybody. But when you start to listen to me, and if you give me a chance to tell you things, if you give me a chance to research what I'm telling you, you'll realize that I'm being honest. And I want the best for everybody. I truly do. I truly want the best for everyone. So, for everybody that just thinks so terribly about Donald Trump, listen, he is a man. He's just like me. He's a man. And every one of us is flawed. There are 1,000 things that I can tell you I hate about Donald Trump, and I've told you. I can guarantee you, Zoloff, that things are going to go poorly. We're looking at World War III, and they're trying to get World War III going before Donald Trump takes office. You mark my words. I mean, they're trying right now to start World War III with Russia. I mean, we're literally in it. But with Donald Trump's plan, life can be so much easier. I know that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. I know it, not a doubt in my mind. And if they ever start investigating it, they're going to find out the truth. If the Democrats truly won, why did no judge accept challenges to it? Did you know that? Did you know that judges in all these states refused to even hear the cases, saying they had no standing? But they didn't even look at the paperwork. They didn't even give it a chance. John Roberts, who is a Bush appointee, he is a known pedophile. This man actually sold his own 2 young children as sex slaves. John Roberts. This is a CIA whistleblower who disclosed this on Millennial Millie. John Roberts himself refused to hear the Supreme Court cases. See, people think the Supreme Court hears every case that comes to it. No, they decide what they listen to. They decide if they're going to accept a case. They decide if they want to hear it or not. So everybody thinks, oh, everybody goes to the Supreme Court, they either win or they lose. No, they don't even make it to the Supreme Court most of the time. It's just, I can understand people that don't like Donald Trump. You look at him, he's a womanizer, he's obnoxious, and he says all these bombastic things, and he just lies all the time. If you absolutely sit down and watch what Donald Trump reads, or watch what he says, oh my Lord, have mercy. If you actually pay attention to what Donald Trump says in context, he speaks like me. Hyperbole, sarcasm, and he'll ask a lot of questions that sound like statements that everybody just misunderstands him. Just like that whole, oh, he's gonna be a tyrant on the first, he's gonna be a dictator on day one. Did he say that? Yes. But you know what he did? He said, yep, I just think I'll be a dictator for one day only. It was a joke. Everybody got the joke. Everyone. But the news takes it, kicks it all out of context, and sends it on through. Because why in America now? In America media, it isn't who's right, it's who's first. So all you got to do is send it out there, get that shock value, you got the view, therefore you just got paid. And once people hear it the first time, and they see a news article, they read the heading, they don't go any farther past the heading. So once you don't have anything else after the heading, guess what happens? Then you realize it was all a lie. It's all a lie. Fox News is more corrupt now than they've ever been. Here's simplicity. If the people that have made my life a living hell for the last 40 or 50 years, this deep state, are after me, and they're after Donald Trump, then I'm going to think to myself, maybe he's a threat to them just like I am. Why wouldn't you think that? Unless you're so caught up on his personality and you hate this man so bad that you believe all these court cases against him. Because I've researched every single court case against Donald Trump. I've researched every one of them. They're all bogus. They're all bogus. None of them are even crimes. How can you get convicted of sexual assault with not one witness, with unreliable testimony, when you can't even put up your own? He wasn't even allowed to put up his own defense. He wasn't even allowed to call witnesses to refute her testimony. Nobody knows that. And where in the world does somebody get $140 million for sexual assault in a civil court? You ever heard of that before? And they moved the statute of limitations. Even on that case, they moved the statute of limitations. They changed it specifically to take him down. And here's another thing that I realized the other day as I was studying. Ooh, that's good. That's good. Is that one? Is that good? Is that what I think it is? Maybe not. This is one thing that I was listening to because I study this stuff. I do too, Zoloft, and I truly do. I think that you do as well. I believe you when you say that. But to my core, I know in my heart that a man that did not love this country would not take a bullet. A man that did not love this country would not risk the life and safety of his children, that would not risk losing everything he owns. That man has lost over $3 billion with a B. $3 billion Donald Trump has lost since being the president of the United States. Him and Harry Truman are the only two presidents to leave the White House with less money than when they came in. I was watching the whole rundown the other day, and the Obamas left with $100 million more than when they came in. It was they were worth like $4 million when they came in, and they were worth like $114 million when they left. So, if he's not stealing money and he's losing money, why? If you think he's corrupt, who's getting the payout? Do you think that he's getting, what payout is he getting? Because he's going to go in there to lose $3 billion to what? Lower taxes on his businesses? That doesn't wash out. That don't make it in the wash. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So you can hate a personality, and I don't blame you, because like I said, people hate me. But you're going to have to ask yourself this. One day you're going to have to say this. When you were at your worst, do you want God to judge you from when you were at your worst or when you were at your best? Because just like, and I'm not making the comparison, apples to apples, oranges to oranges here. But God sent Jesus, the Messiah, to the Jews, and they put him on a cross. Now we've got Donald Trump, and if you want to deny that God saved him from that bullet, you can deny that. But the happenstance that happened, that at the exact millisecond that man turned his head and that bullet didn't shoot his skull out the back of his head, I can't blame it on anything else but intervention. I'm sorry. By godly intervention. You don't have to believe me on that. I'm just telling you, the Bible says that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Everything they've thrown at that man, he has lost $3 million. He is hated all over the world, and especially in this country. But what did he do to deserve it? He called Rosie a fat pig. He called Ted Cruz a liar. He said Marco Rubio had tiny hands. I mean, we're talking words. Words against anything else. It just doesn't. Thank you, Eric, for being here. I hope you don't have to leave. We're talking about words compared to actions. You look how many detrimental things that Joe Biden's cost us, the American people. Think about how many people right now have that poison pulsing through their veins that are falling over dead with myocarditis because Joe Biden mandated that all the military had to get a jab. That people in New York City had to take the jab to keep their jobs. How many people lived under authoritarianism where Joe Biden's FBI had James Baker, the #1 attorney that left the FBI to go work at Twitter to silence everybody, where they had a direct line, 50 employees working for Facebook, got a government check by the taxpayers of the United States to censor speech. Trump didn't censor our speech. He didn't take our speech away. He didn't make us take a vaccine. None of that happened. He got the vaccine moving as fast as he could to try to save lives because he thought and was told this is going to save lives. Operation Warp Speed was boom, like that. Now, I'll tell you the truth. Donald Trump was very much deceived, and I totally disagreed with him on the vaccine. I did. But he did what he thought was right for the American people to come up with this vaccine. They didn't make that vaccine overnight. Okay? Vote blue or things will never change. Things have changed. That's why everybody voted red. If you think things are good right now, then you need to move to Cuba. You need to move to Venezuela. You need to go to a communist country because that's what we've been living under the last 4 years. Actually, the last 8 years. Even under Trump, the deep state was still in action. They were still ruling everything. See, a lot of people blame Trump for his FBI. Trump didn't own the FBI. He put in who his advisors told him to put in because people in the White House advised Trump who to hire. He had no idea who to hire. That's why he fired everybody. Miles, I'm going to tell you this. If you think the moron, you are absolutely. Israel's on fire. People have about time a Democrat takes power, wars start popping up because the Democrats are the war power. You must. I think he's one of the overfunded neighbors. You're exactly right. He's got that Spanish last name. I can only imagine how many chain migration come across this land due to his family. I'm 2 doors down and living lovely. I bet. Yeah. You know the only people living lovely in America right now? Illegal aliens are the only ones living lovely in America right now. Illegal aliens are. They're the ones buying houses. They're the ones buying cars. You know how many people answer my Facebook ads? You know how many times it's been white folk? I think I've sold 3 things to white folk the past 6 months. And 3 of those guys, one guy was trying to help a little old lady out with a lawnmower, and the 2 other guys were buying totes from me to take to the hurricane relief. Everything else I sold was to illegal aliens who could not speak a word of English. They're the only ones with money. You see, this country works for you when you don't work for it. You get that? Just like Obamacare. Obamacare works as long as you don't. So anybody saying the last 4 years has been the greatest ever, sure. Undocumented people did not build America. You're so foolish. That's one of the dumbest. That's the same thing. I watched this dumb woman last night on YouTube, and she was sitting there. She's in New York. Oh no, she's in California, Sacramento, I think. She's at a restaurant. A guy was First Amendment auditing. He was sitting there feeling her, and she's like, "Your people enslaved me. You stole this land. You stole California from us in Mexico." Well, no, there's the 1853 Guadalupe Treaty where the United States bought Mexico and the lower southern states for $15 million. $15 million between 1848 and 1852. America did that. We purchased it. We didn't steal it. Undocumented immigrants did not build America. The most migration that came to America was under Ellis Island. And guess what? We screened everybody. We gave them a health test. We checked their reading, their writing. There was requirements to come in. We just didn't pass everybody. They turned a lot of people away at Ellis Island. You don't know that because you don't have any training. You don't know history, especially American history. If the Mexican people are so wonderful, why didn't they build their own country? If the Mexican people are such wonderful, industrious people, why didn't they build Mexico? Oh, that's right. They didn't get paid to build Mexico. They came here to take this. This ain't your. Listen, you're gonna listen. I'll be glad to tell you this, Miles. Miles, we didn't. You didn't. This ain't your country. It was never your country. I'm gonna block him because I'm gonna get agitated and say something I shouldn't say. A racist. Anybody hear that? Anybody hear the racist? The Mexican racist? You heard that, right? We took his country. Listen, before white men built America, who built it? Because I don't remember Indians building skyscrapers. I don't remember the Cherokee building big government marble buildings. I don't remember that. And for all the people who say black slaves built the White House, no, that didn't happen either. See, these people want to destroy everything that is American. And this is exactly what George Soros says. He says we must defeat the white men in every country because the colored people are easier to control. As long as we control their emotions, we can control their minds. That's the words of George Soros, the one who's been destroying America this whole time. Zoloft, I appreciate you letting me vent, and I do appreciate you. I appreciate your comments. I wish that you would judge the man by what he does and not what you hear and what he says. Because listen, I'll be the first to tell you that man, if he would shut up, everything would be a lot easier. But here's the thing. Under no other president have you ever found every day what was going on. Every day in America under Donald Trump's regime, he was telling the people through Twitter and Facebook what he was doing and what the deep state was doing to him. Every day, he kept us informed. J.D. Vance has done more interviews during the presidential cycle to try to win the election than Kamala did the entire 4 years. Kamala and Joe combined the entire 4 years in office. When you're dealing with Donald Trump, you can't look at NBC. You can't look at CNN, MSNBC. You can't see it there. You're not going to see it on Fox News. You're going to see it at Walmart when you buy your groceries. You're going to see it at the gas pump when you buy your gas. When you get your property taxes in the mail, you're going to see how much taxes was taken out. That's where Donald Trump's going to affect you. When illegal immigration, and I pray that he keeps his word. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to deport the criminals from the prisons. I think he's going to deport the criminals, the hardcore criminals. I think he's only going to go after them, not the people. And I hope Tom Homan hauls every single one of them out. I hope he hauls the dreamers out by their freaking teeth. I hope he grabs a dreamer up by their throats, picks them up, and throws them out on their asses. Even better, I think he needs to put all the dreamers on the wall and have them building the wall. We need to have the dreamers and all these illegals. We need to put them in work camps and make them build our roads, build our bridges, and build our highways. That's what we need to do with every illegal immigrant here. We need to make them work off the time they've been here. And if they've taken tax dollars for welfare, we need to make them work that money off, baby. If they've accrued any cars, if they've got homes, anything that they bought in America while they've been here, that stuff needs to be auctioned off and that money put back in the treasury. That's what I think. And then we need to ship them out and build that wall as tall as it'll get. That's what I think. But I'll tell you this, I promise this, and I kept this promise before. Because my Facebook memories pop up every day. And in my Facebook memories, it shows me every day when I was critical of Donald Trump. Every single day I was critical of him, it popped up on Facebook. So I was critical of him, and I will continue to be critical of Donald Trump. I'll call balls and I'll call strikes. I call it the way it is. And if you know me, you should know that. But Trump's just not going to play games, I pray. If they let him into office. If they let that man into office, I feel the amount of stress in my life went down instantly when Donald Trump was elected. Instantly, the amount of stress in my life went down. I felt safer for my children because Donald Trump's at the helm. Because Obama's been running the country for the last, well, since 2012, Obama's been in charge. Even when Trump was in office, Obama was in charge. You don't have to believe me. That's just the truth. It's the truth of the matter. But pray. This is something I have to do. I have to ask God, God, change my thinking. Mold my mind into what you want me to see. Mold my mind into what you want me to know. Mold my mind into who you want me to be, Lord. Because hating a man for the way he talks is taking a position above God, because God forgives all of us if we just give him a chance. So I got to go to work. It's getting late. I love you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Hit that thumbs up button and pray, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see if I can get this in the last couple posted for public so you guys can hear and see them. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Share it with your friends. God bless.